statistically 40% of people really find the holidays challenging and don't always find them filled with joy. They find it enormously stressful. And I don't want to say negative, but while the whole world is uplifted and all of that, 40% of the population do not look forward to the holiday season and find it rather challenging. And that stopped me dead in my tracks.
Welcome to Real Talk with the Parenting Blueprint Coaches, where we discuss all aspects of parenting using the foundation of understanding personality dynamics to raise independent, responsible, and resilient children. My name is Karen Wagner, founder of Teaching Our Youth and the Parenting Blueprint. Let's dig right in with today's topic and have some real talk with the Parenting Blueprint Coaches.
Welcome to Real Talk with today's coaches, Janet Krebs and
Mindy Green.
And we've got some fun things. Happy January to everybody. Hope your last quarter of the year was successful and filled with joy, however that means to you, whatever that means to you. That's better language. Today, Mindy, what are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk about just doing a little bit of reflecting on not just quarter four, but last year and what we might like to change. And Janet, you brought up a really good statistic that I think would really be helpful for our audience to consider as we're going through this conversation.
Well, I know it. What did it do to me? It was my cause for pause I pause for cause and cause for pause a lot, but this one really stopped me dead in my tracks. Did you know that statistically 40% of people really find the holidays challenging and don't always find them filled with joy? They find it enormously stressful. And I don't want to say negative, but while the whole world is uplifted and all of that, 40% of the population do not look forward to the holiday season and find it rather challenging. And that stopped me dead in my tracks.
Well, I'm thinking about it right now, and that it seems like a really high number. And I know that there are people out there who don't enjoy the holidays or struggle to find something joyful about it. And so, yeah, but 40%, that's really seems like a really high number.
It is a high number. And so since January is a time that the entire world is doing resolutions and the words for the year and all of these restarts, I think is a really interesting time, an invitation for us all to look back and think about why and how we could change that.
Well, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to put my hand up on this one because I'm one of those people who really doesn't enjoy the holidays. There are things that I do like about the holidays. I'll just name a couple. I like the fact that, my family is together, so I enjoy that time together. I do not enjoy, though, the prep that goes into it and some of the pressure that's or I feel pressure at this time of year. And it's a time that I'm naturally, I think maybe it's just the, less light, and I go through a downward cycle. Okay, and so finding the things to be excited about is hard.
So let's use that, because I bet some of the things that you said have to resonate with listeners. For example, having family all come together. That can be really fantastic with the people that you love, but it can also be really challenging if you feel obligated to have people in your presence, at your table, in your home, you in their home, that are not necessarily your favorite people. And let's not forget, number 3, the people that perhaps we've lost, either within the last year, that this will be the first time they are not with the family, or just they have passed in years and we miss them, especially around the holidays because everybody is together. So your first reason, and in all fairness, I mean, I don't think you would mind if I said you had some loss in the last year. This could be a challenging time for you.
Yeah, and I think that that's very valid for our audience to consider because even if it's been years since you've lost someone, and for me, I lost a dear family member back in the summer, and he's always been a part of our holiday traditions. And just when I think about family, he and my aunt are the ones who really uh, are role models for what I wanted, in my own family. So I feel that loss keenly this year. And at the same time, I feel the loss of my parents, who would always make it feel so special. And, so it's an interesting time to navigate all the feelings and, what it should look like or what it did look like. And
Exactly.
that's a really great points that you're making, Janet, with, how it can be tricky with all the different feelings that come up.
And what are you supposed to do with all of that?
Mm,
Right? What do you do? What do you do with all of that? I mean, obviously, I'm one to, I don't need to give people permission, but give yourself some grace to feel all of the feels and put them in proper perspective. And then I think obviously so as not to be a shroud of negativity, to, in spite of all of those feels, to still enjoy the holidays as much as you can. But we have to give homage. We have to
mm,
give some grace to those feelings. Otherwise, we're not doing ourselves any justice. You also made a good point about doing too much,
mhm.
right? Like, it's like you actually just named many of the things that I'm sure are people's biggest complaints. Doing too much. Well, who does that? Is that self-inflicted? Do we feel like we're supposed to do all the things? Can we not delegate? Do we have this Norman Rockwell perception of what it's supposed to be in our heads, and we we do the perfection thing to ourselves?
I really think, as I talk to different, I get a chance to go up to the bus stop, and that's always a really interesting place to be to find out like how how the families are doing, in the neighborhood. And so I'm just thinking about some of the things that I've heard them talk about. And I think it's really a combination of, maybe external expectations from other family members, or what the holidays should look like or what you should do. And then also the things that we think that we should do. And so you
Okay,
put all that together and it's like this big ball.
so I have a solution. You just said the word should 3 times in less than
Mhm.
a minute. So how about we just get rid of the word should and replace it with what I want and be done? I don't know.
Right.
That would be a very snap of the finger. Well, I'm not going to do anything that I feel like I should do, but is there room for changing things? As we get older, I've spoken to a number of people who are lamenting about not doing their decorations yet.
Mhm.
Right? That's an easy one to start, especially when your kids are flown and grown. It's like, how much of all of this pomp do you do? And it's like, can you let that go? So maybe there's a couple of questions. What can we let go of? And how many shoulds can we let go of? I had a great solution, by the way, just a little anecdotal, that I was talking to a friend. She said she hadn't decorated the house yet. And I said, have everybody dress when they come over in their finest or their most festive clothing and tell them that they are the decoration. And so make it part costume for them to come fully decorated. And it was just hilarious. But it was like, I have no decorations, so you are going to be the decorations of the house. I actually thought that was kind of clever.
I think it's wonderful because it's also my dog's getting into I don't know if you can hear in the background with his toy, squeaky toy, but he's getting into that idea too. He thinks that's a great idea. And I'm in that place too where we have our tree up late. We have like 10 ornaments on the tree, or I've had 10 ornaments on the tree. It took me a long time to get up my stockings. The things that I normally like to do, I have been putting off. And so I think that that's a great idea because it's like, just because we've done it a certain way in the past doesn't mean that we have to continue to do that.
And so there's a couple of examples for everybody that now in the new year, it's just time to re-engineer. When we reflect, let's include especially with holidays, and it doesn't even have to be just this holiday. How about just like everything? But because of the statistic that we started with, if the holidays are less enjoyable, or let's just give ourselves grace, they're changing, right? The kids are getting older, families are moving, like there's just a lot of change. And if we are enjoying them less, how can we make some change to enjoy them more, or at least to make it less stressful, less challenging? And that would be a great place to start. For example, I did not enjoy the decorations. And so for 2025, I'm going to do less, or I will let other people decorate my house and let them take it down. I did not enjoy having 12 for dinner and having to do everything. So I'm going to do paper plates next year and have everybody else bring some. Like, what can we change to take the load off to make it less stressful?
And that's where I think you going back to, and I said those purposely, the shoulds of others' expectations, our own expectations. And I think it's changing it to what is it that I want? And it's not just during the holidays, it's for the year, and we use the holidays as an example because we're now into January and looking at that because it's like a perfect example, but also looking into our year and who is it that we want to be. And I know that sometimes that is maybe overused, but it's like really, how do we want to feel, and what are our, what do we want to bring into it? How do we want to respond when we're challenged with different things that might be not as easy, that there might be some struggles or difficulties. The holidays are packed with a lot of different things. There are also, birthday season. For me, it's like I have, 4 of the 6 family members, but it's like there are lots of different times of the year, like graduation or, the summer and finding things to do for the kids and, or family vacations. So there are lots of different times of the year that we can use what we're reflecting on with the holidays and use that to consider, what is it that we want to feel? How do we want to show up? All these great reflection questions that we're talking about in context of the holidays, but have application in other times of the year as well.
So let's throw out to listeners the word, not for the year, not the word for not just the word for the month of January, reflect. Give yourself some time and space to reflect. Not only about what was, but going forward. Let's just reflect. That's the greatest gift you could give yourself.
Absolutely.
That would be like a fun challenge. Like for 1 month, for 1 week, every day with your coffee, tea, or whatever your morning routine is, just reflect. Give Give yourself some time and space. That's our gift to everybody.
It is. And I think that the other piece of that is too, is that it's a gift to everyone. It's the gift to ourselves as well, because that's part of self-care. And I know that sometimes that can be overused as well. But it's really giving yourself grace, caring for yourself, giving yourself the opportunity to just to not do, but just to, to have that, just to be.
So that's that's our parting gift to everybody. Happy January, and give yourself some time to reflect.
Sounds good.
A great day, everybody. If you like what you heard today, please support and hit subscribe and follow. See y'all soon.
Bye.